What do you got? Where are we going first in the mailbag?
Okay, first one. Who do you predict will start at corner opposite Sierra Wright?
Andrew Marshall's my guess right now. The Idaho transfer. He was the top corner in the Big Sky Conference, which is regarded as one of the best FCS conferences in the country. And I say he's the top corner. He was the only corner that made the all-conference team. The other 3 defensive backs were safeties. So he's a highly proven, accomplished player at a very good FCS program.
Sounds like the staff loves him too. I mean, he's only been here for a short time, but didn't take long from the sound of things to make quite the impression on his coaches. So I don't think that's been solidified yet, but he is, I agree, he's the clear front runner right now.
Yeah, I just like to piggyback off of
What about Amari Sanders? Give me a sleeper.
Sleeper Bly Hill.
Yeah.
Bly Hill was, remember, in the spring of 2024, was it the spring of 2024? He was the starter. He was going to be the starter.
Mm-hmm.
He got injured in the spring game. He looks like he's fine now. If you start thinking about the best looking athletes on the team, if you see Bly Hill, he's a wow player because he's a 6'4" corner,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a wow looking player. I just can't believe that he'd go from starter to being out of the picture.
Well, at that point last year, they didn't have Sierra Wright. When the spring ball was happening in 24, when he looked good, Sierra Wright wasn't even here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Sierra Wright didn't visit Nebraska until late June of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Sierra Wright's arrival and the injury obviously changed a lot of the path of Bly Hill.
You wonder about Jeremiah Charles a little bit. I'd go Bly Hill ahead of him. Amari Sanders is definitely in that picture, though. You're right. He's definitely in that picture.
I just think Charles, his lack of reps that he had coming out of high school, he didn't play a lot of high school football. He's a great track athlete, great basketball player.
Get ready on special teams for him.
But I think he's got, to lock in as a every down Big Ten corner. I mean, he got his opportunity last year against UCLA, and Eric Bieniemy pointed him out and went after him every
take long.
It's what you do. And he'll get better though. And in some of it, he'll get better on special teams, but he'll be one of the main guys on special teams.
All right, Abby, what do you got?
Okay, what makes this year's group of portal receivers projected to be better than last year's?
I think there's more proven production. I think Dane Key is one of the all-time leading receivers at Kentucky, which they didn't, the 2 guys they added last year, I don't think were at that caliber. I mean, Dane Key, if you took his Kentucky stats, and if he had a good year this year, he'd be one of the all-time leading receivers at Nebraska. Isaiah Hunter was the leading receiver for Cal. I think the high school players they've added are really good too. When you look at
Mills,
Mosey and Mills, and then Jeremiah Jones.
Yep, it's a good question. It's a good question. That's the best way to say it. We thought a lot about those guys that they brought in last year, particularly the kid from Wake Forest.
Georgia and Miami wanted both the guys that are on Nebraska's roster.
Okay, but last year they brought in guys that we hyped up. We have to be clean about that. Who's the kid from
Banks?
Jamal Banks.
Jamal Banks. We made a lot of Jamal Banks.
Yes.
He was all right. I mean, he had a good year.
Thought he could be a 1,000-yard receiver.
Right.
It wasn't until like the bowl game when he finally came into his own a little bit.
Right. So if there's a little skepticism in that question, I appreciate it. It's fine.
The red flag I heard early on Jamal Banks was his lack of speed.
And then what we heard, it wasn't off the record. It wasn't whispers. It was coaches saying we have a hard time beating man coverage. It was Matt Rule saying we have a hard time beating man coverage. So that would be one thing automatically you watch for in these guys. How are they against man coverage?
Yep.
When they're locked up, can they do it? Can they get off the line of scrimmage? Can they beat a physical corner?
Dane Key saw plenty of that in the SEC.
Yeah, and Isaiah Hunter,
NFL level corners.
And Isaiah Hunter is a strong kid. I mean, I think he prides himself on winning
with 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
All right,
but I get the question.
Next question.
Okay, outside of Dylan Raiola, is there any all-conference caliber players on this team?
When you talk about 18 teams, I say this every time, it's really hard to make an all-conference first team because, you're talking about almost being an All-American at that point.
But if you want to beat those teams, you got to have them.
Yeah, look, Rocco Spindler maybe could find himself up to that point.
Elijah Pritchett.
Maybe. Elijah Pritchett.
Corey Barney? Not quite.
No, I would go with Dane Key.
Okay.
I think Dane Key is going to be the leading receiver on this team over Ja'Cory Barney.
Okay.
If I had it, that's just
Maybe.
on defense. Maybe one of those secondary guys has an elite year on the back end. I don't know if it's Sierra Wright or Singleton, but again, it has to be a winning season with players that have conference leading stats.
You got to have some dudes.
You got to win.
Yeah.
The winners get rewarded.
You can't just be the Maryland receiver that goes off. Like that guy doesn't make all conference.
No, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but it's a very important question. It is because again, if you're satisfied with being behind Michigan, Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State, then you're satisfied, and you'll never have all conference players. Those are the guys you have to have, one or two or three guys. If you really are serious about beating them, that are that caliber, and you don't have to sell it to me as, but Sip, they have to win. No, I know an all conference player when I see it. I don't care what
those
the record.
Purdue guys didn't make first team a couple years ago.
I don't care what the record is. I know what one looks like. It's Randy Gregory. It's Amir Abdullah. You don't have to attach a record to Randy Gregory to tell me he's an all conference player. Yeah, those guys are all conference players. It doesn't. It is
right
what
now.
it is.
Is there a guy like that on the roster?
I don't know.
As of now, I'm going to say no because none of them's done it yet.
Is Vincent Shavers? Could he
Not
be
yet.
that guy? Is McGay?
Could.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
yet.
Marquise Watson-Trent was a player of the year where he came from. Like if he has over 100 tackles.
Here's the thing, though. A lot of this is determined on the preseason narrative on guys, to where especially on the lines, like offensive line. All right, we know this guy's supposed to be good, and then you don't really pay attention to it. So it comes to voting times. Like, well, what offensive lineman do I even know? So I go to the same guys, the same teams. Iowa's offensive line is good, so let's throw some Iowa guys, like that sort of thing. That is also working against Nebraska, where they're not getting any preseason love. Therefore, they're going to have to play catch up with some of these guys, even if they have equal to or even better seasons individually,
and have freakish Pro Football Focus grades. And as a voter on the all conference teams, I've done it before, and Pro Football Focus does really help you because you can filter it to Big Ten players by certain positions only. So you can at least analyze. And I voted those Purdue guys. I voted one of those Purdue guys on the first team and the other on the second team. Neither of them made it. And they were outstanding. They led the league in sacks. It was all Michigan and Ohio State guys that got those spots. So a lot of it is winning. And
a lot of voters are lazy, media and coaches alike. They don't pay attention. That's the reality of it too. So you got to take that into account.
You do. I hate to explain stuff like that away, though. If you got a guy, you got a guy.
Well, it's 18 teams. In the Big 8, it was 8.
Yeah.
Right.
A little bit easier to make an all-conference
Again,
team.
I guess you can do that. You can just say, well, it's okay not to have all-conference guys, but okay. Then we're going to be covering 8 and 7 win teams for the rest of our lives.
Well, a league that has 255 draft picks.
I get it. I get what
they
you're
didn't have
saying.
200.
I get what you're saying. So what are you saying basically, that don't worry about not having all-conference players?
I'm just saying it's if you're all conference, you're basically almost an All-American.
All-Americans are what gets you to the playoffs. Sean.
Right. They need them. I'm not saying they don't need them, but I don't know who that is right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because they don't have anybody that has the stats that are making these lists that Robin's doing.
I got to think like a Shavers is a guy that can advance.
They have a lot of guys that could, but right now on June 18th, I don't know if any of them will.
Final question.
Okay, last question. To celebrate National Mascot Day, who is your favorite mascot?
Ooh, the Stanford tree's hard to beat, right? Stands in a
of how unruly he is.
Yeah, and it stands like in a corner of the court and shakes. It's hard to beat that, right? It's like the tree limbs. I mean, the Stanford tree's hard to beat.
I'll say the Savannah banana. Does that count?
I don't know even what that is.
I mean, it's a mascot.
Is it an actual banana?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Philly
there are two.
Fanatic.
Rob, help.
Philly Fanatic. That's a good one.
It's a really good
There
one.
are two things in this country right now that are filling up venues that aren't like basketball, football, related. It's the Savannah Bananas and Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. I saw the Savannah Bananas last Saturday night. I was watching them at Buffalo Wings and Rings. I get it.
They had it on TV?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They had it.
I didn't think they aired them on TV.
Oh, yeah. They were playing 100% on it. I watched 2 hours of it.
But they are the hottest thing right now.
I've seen them on TV multiple times, actually. Yeah.
They're going to start their own league. It's one of the Husker players is on the Savannah Bananas. The Millard South kid. I'm blanking.
Kyle
on his name.
Perry.
Kyle Perry is.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Mhm.
Hey, why do you like the Philly Fanatic? Because it's a big green thing.
Oh, he just does
Angry things.
yeah. He kind of embodies everything about
Everything about what?
Philadelphia. Just kind of, you know what I'm saying.
Interesting.
Good job there, babe.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
There's some good ones in the NBA. Benny the Bull,
Okay.
fantastic.
Now you're getting somewhere.
Who's the Denver one?
Remember the old Suns gorilla? The one
Yes.
Yes.
and he would dunk?
Yes.
So don't they still have that?
I don't know. I don't watch the NBA like you do. You would be the one that would know.
I haven't seen the gorilla. I haven't seen it, but I do remember it in the 80s. In the 80s. John, the 80s.
I'm looking at a list right now of the top 25 sports mascots, and Philly Fanatics #1. Number 2 is Jackson DeVille, the Jaguars mascot.
I'm not familiar.
I don't know why. I think he does a lot of wild stunts. I've seen Benny the Bull in person. He's good. He's good. Good times.
The Florida State Chief.
Oh, hard to beat. Like that.
The BYU Cougar does like all those crazy
Ooh,
dance
yeah.
things.
Probably the best dancer of all the mascots.
But I always love the ones that are like animals. The dogs, Dubs,
Oh,
Blue
yeah.
from Butler.
yeah, what about like
Amazing. I love the dogs.
Okay.
like the live tiger at LSU?
But these are real
It's crazy.
tigers, not
Yeah.
like
Ralphie.
I lean more towards that. That's a good call.
Ralphie's
The
awesome.
real animals, I would take over the guy in a stuffed suit.
Ralphie, Ralphie, when that thing comes rolling out
intense.
of there, woo.
Oh my! I have goosebumps just thinking about those games we've just recent. This the scene in Boulder with Ralphie,
Ralphie comes firing out of that trailer. Wow.
and those guys have to keep him
Yeah.
controlled.
Oh God, it's crazy.
Baylor's got a full bear.
Really?
Yeah, they're on campus. There's 2 bears that have their own little like bear exhibit right on campus.
Brian Bosworth tried to get in front of Ralphie and like stop him,
Good luck with that, bud.
and then
Not a good idea.
Then they put in a rule like the teams can't be on the field.
Ralphie one time came dangerously close to Osborne. Osborne wasn't, I don't
Oh, that's
think
one of the most famous
Yeah.
pictures in Nebraska football history. Was pointing. Get out of the way, Ralphie.
man.